The forgotten sixth sense technologies of the ancient world. Here's all you need to know about the sixth sense and how to open it up for a better life. This is by Nick Polizzi, guest writer on Collective Spark. She says, over the years, I've been blessed to interview many exceptional people and share their wisdom with our community. A few years ago, I had the rare opportunity to interview one of my longtime heroes, Graham Hancock, and I'm really excited to share a powerful clip from our talk with you today. In a former life, Graham was a foreign affairs journalist for The Economist, but that former life, that is before he became a researcher for archaeology. So he was a foreign affairs journalist for The Economist, but for the last 25 years, he's been deeply investigating the mysteries of our human past. When I first read his best-selling Fingerprints of the Gods more than 15 years ago, it changed my worldview dramatically. I had to rethink everything I learned in my college anthropology courses and was inspired to begin my own exploration into human origins and traditions, leading me to Peru in 2002. And in the video below, he explains that we're missing some very crucial information about our past, specifically the time period around the last ice age, which ended only 11,500 years ago. Graham's investigations have led him to believe that a highly organized and technologically advanced civilization lived and thrived during this time, while simple hunter-gatherers simultaneously wandered other areas of the planet. In the beginning of this lively 10-minute segment of our interview, you'll hear Graham describe abilities like telekinesis and telepathy, and my next video will be about telekinesis and telepathy. So he's talking about telekinesis, moving things, and telepathy, reading other people's minds, which are beyond our current technological framework. If you're short on time, make sure you don't miss Graham's fascinating talk on reincarnation, which he calls an incredible mechanism for immortality, starting in minute 358. For mind-blowing discoveries about ancient visionary plants and their connection with the wisdom still accessible from shamanic plants today, fast forward to minute 621. And get ready to travel back in time. And check out Graham's book, Magicians of the Gods, in the link here. For other editions of the book, you click there and watch the full interview of Graham there. For the transcript, NP, do you feel that the lost civilizations were as technologically advanced or more than we are? Part B to that question is, where are the buried computers? Where is the computer that's like 18,000 years old? There's this sort of notion that technology looks a certain way. Graham Hancock. My answer to that is, if we really want to get to grips with history, let's stop looking at history as a mirror. Let's start looking at it as a window through which we actually see what happened rather than projecting ourselves onto the past. There's no reason on earth why an earlier civilization should have followed the same technological route as we. Even if it had the capacity to do so, it might have chosen for moral or other reasons to do with the sacredness of the earth, not to exploit petrochemicals, for example. We've chosen to go that route. No certainty that an earlier civilization would have gone that route. And in the route that we have chosen to take, we have placed great emphasis on mechanical advantage. We do things by leverage, by mechanical advantage, and we're very good at that. We do amazing things with that. But perhaps we've allowed other faculties of the human mind to lapse in the process. We've become dependent on mechanical technology and other faculties of the human mind, which are spoken of in traditions all around the world. Faculties of telekinesis, for example, to move objects with the power of the mind, of telepathy, and so on and so forth, are spoken of again and again in ancient traditions. Maybe human beings in general have those capacities, but maybe we've gone to sleep. We've been lulled into a state of sleep by our society. We're so proud of our technology. We're so impressed by its achievements, and my goodness, the achievements are extraordinary. They're overwhelming, actually. That's where we are just forgetting what else we might have done if we've gone a different way. I think this is the answer, that the lost civilization of prehistoric antiquity was a very different civilization from our own, and that was not primarily about material things. It was primarily about the nurture and growth of the human spirit, and that's reflected into the myths too, because it's when the lost civilization, Atlantis or whatever we wish to call it, strays from that path, when it plunges into materialism, when it loses sight of the spiritual goal, that's when the danger occurs. And P, is there any possibility that members of the civilization, in your opinion, could have survived and be somewhere hidden among us still? Graham Hancock, no, I think they were human beings just like us, but they are hidden among us in terms of their ideas. It's more important to be clear. Ideas are what live or can live forever in human culture, and the idea of the lost civilization, of the magicians of the gods, of the civilizers who went around the world trying to keep the light of civilization burning, that idea is very strongly impressed upon the memories of mankind, and no amount of rationalizing or scientific skepticism is going to get rid of it. In our hearts, we all know it's true. And P. So I've heard you say and write that the Egyptians have put their best minds to work for 3,000 years on the mystery of death. Graham Hancock. This touches exactly on what we're talking about just now, because the ancient Egyptians were the inheritors of an earlier tradition. It was a tradition, I believe, of a lost civilization, and the primary focus of that civilization was not upon material things and physical life, but on eternal things and the possibility of eternal life. Now, typically in our society today, when we talk about eternal or immortal life, people start thinking in terms of transhumanism, that we're going to install all these gadgets in our brains, a ghastly, horrible result of a repulsive thought, or even download our consciousness into a machine. What selfish and narcissistic thinking is that? We already have an incredible mechanism for immortality. It's called reincarnation. Why would one wish to be transhumanist and keep the same body forever, or download one's consciousness into a machine, when the mechanism of reincarnation allows us to live many different lives and benefit from the learning experience that those different lives offer? Now, of course, I can't prove that reincarnation exists, but I happen to think it does. I think it's just as likely. I think it was Voltaire who said it's no more probable to be born twice than to be born once. And actually, why not? We could go into that. There are huge amounts of evidence for it. There's the thing, if reincarnation is possible, then we are not our bodies. Whatever we are not our bodies, because these bodies surely die. We are not our bodies. There's some immortal part of ourselves, the soul, the essence, the spirit. That's what reincarnates, and the focus, I believe, of the lost civilization was upon that immortal essence of the human being for a very long period of time, but that it gradually fell away from that and evolved into materialism, but that primarily it was not a materialistic society. We should not expect to find recognizable material traces of the kind of industrial technology that we've created in the 20th and 21st centuries. And P. Do you feel as though shamanic plants, visionary plants might have played a role in this study of your own mortality of death in Egyptian culture? Graham Hancock. I'm certain they did. Indeed, the ancient Egyptians did put their best minds to work for 3,000 years on the mystery of what happens to us when we die, and in that project they had aid from a number of plant allies. We know that Nymphaea cerulea, the blue water lily, is a mild visionary plant. Interestingly, and it's my friend Dennis McKenna, who is an ethnopharmacologist, who's made this identification, which is that the ancient Egyptians' tree of life, which you see in huge numbers of reliefs around ancient Egypt, you will often often you will see that Thoth, the god of wisdom, Thoth, that is Hermes Trismegistus, the Atlantean, who wrote the Emerald Tablets, and I have a playlist for you for the Emerald Tablets, and Thoth writes in there the tremendous amount of advanced technology they had. They even had space travel and even interdimensional travel. So you'll see, Graham Hancock says, you'll often see that Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing the name of an individual upon the tree of life. That means that the individual has graduated from earthly life into the life of millions of years. Well, it turns out that the tree of life is Acacia niloquita, according to Dennis's estimate, and that Acacia niloquita is rich in dimethyltryptamate, or DMT, the most powerful hallucinogen known to man. The fact that it's the tree of life in ancient Egypt is really intriguing, and we should absolutely consider the possibility that we do not know what the ancient Egyptians were smoking. NP. Did your experience with ayahuasca give you any extra insights as to what happens after we die, as to this possibility of reincarnation? Graham Hancock. Again, I can't prove that this is correct. I can only tell you the impact upon me. My experiences with ayahuasca have made me understand that everything we do in this life matters. Everything counts. Everything will be weighed out and considered. We are being given a precious opportunity to be born in a human body. It's a very rare opportunity in the universe as a whole to be a human being, to have the fine powers of discernment between good and bad, light and darkness that human beings do have, the capacity for love, and sadly the capacity for hate. All of these things are part of the miracle of being born in the human body. It's up to us to live up to that miracle, to fulfill it. Do we want to spend our lives just pursuing material goods and objectives? If we do, we will not be nurturing that non-physical part of ourselves at all. And it seems to me that the ancient Egyptians were very focused upon this. That's why actually you don't find remains of people's houses and personal possessions very much in ancient Egypt. I don't think they cared about that. Towards the end of the Egyptian civilization, Herodotus, the ancient Greek, visited that country and described them as the happiest people on earth. They'd been happy for 3,000 years, and their happiness came primarily not from focusing on the material realm, but from living life in a way that nurtures spirit. Ultimately, what we're all here to do is to give love, to act with love towards one another, and that is the fundamental truth that emerges from ancient Egyptian civilization and from all the civilizations. And the further that we move away from love and the more deeply we get drawn down into materialism, the less chance we have of fulfilling our mission here. And P. I couldn't think of a better way to end this talk. That was profound. Thank you for that. Any closing thoughts? Graham Hancock. No, I think we've wrapped it up in a fairly tight way, which is good. No need to ramble on endlessly. NP, absolutely. Hopefully we can do this again. It's like a dream come true for me. Graham Hancock. Well, I'd love to do it again, and we'll definitely do that. Stay curious, Nick Polizzi. And this is by Nick Polizzi, guest writer on Collector Spark. So Graham Hancock believes that what Herodotus, the ancient Greek, said when he went to visit Egypt, that they were the happiest people he ever saw. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.